Hey everyone, my name's Elena, and today we're unpacking one of gaming's biggest cultural debates, game difficulty levels, gatekeeping, and player identity, all through the story of one deceptively charming indie video game, Cuphead. When Cuphead released back in 2017, it instantly became a global phenomenon, not just because of its incredible 1930s cartoon art style, but because it was brutally hard. What followed was a heated debate about whether difficulty makes a game more rewarding, or just more exclusive. And underneath that argument lies something deeper, questions about identity, community, and who gaming is really for. Cuphead developers designed the game to challenge players, but the controversy began when people realised that finishing the game on simple mode didn't actually unlock the ending. As Matt Cox from Rock Paper Shotgun pointed out, simple mode shouldn't cut content. He argued that while making the game easier might affect difficulty balance, it shouldn't mean that some players are denied the full experience. Others disagreed, claiming that Cuphead's difficulty was the point, that toning it down would compromise the creator's vision. Soon, this disagreement spiraled into a much bigger argument about skill, accessibility, and what it means to be a real gamer. At the centre of this debate is the phrase, "get good." Initially a meme meant to encourage practice, it's now come to represent a kind of gatekeeping culture, one that mocks players who struggle or even question game design. As Tanya DePass writes, the get good culture isn't about improving skill, it's about deciding who belongs. It assumes that true gamers don't need accessibility options, extra help, or easier settings. They just need to get better. But this isn't just harmless banter. According to another author, get good has become a linguistic tool that reinforces hierarchies in gaming communities, where success equals superiority and failure equals exclusion. When you look at Cuphead discussions on Reddit or Twitter, you see how this plays out. Players sharing frustration about the game are often met with dismissive responses like skill issue or don't play if you can't handle it. This kind of language shapes how players view themselves and others, and that's where player identity comes in. In online gaming communities, language and conversation create identity. As Perrault and Lynch explain, gamers form interpretive communities, groups that define what counts as skill, legitimacy, and belonging. In the case of Cuphead, these discussions divide players into two camps, the so-called hardcore players who complete the game on regular mode and view that as proof of authenticity, and the casual players who play for fun, story, or relaxation, but are often dismissed as less legit. Liork describes this as a spectrum of play, where identity is tied to how much effort, time, and skill someone invests in a game. But when community discourse praises difficulty as the only measure of worth, it can alienate people who simply engage with games differently. And you can see it in comment sections, players saying things like, "Cuphead is stunning, but the community made me feel bad for not beating it." That sense of exclusion isn't built by the game itself, it's built by how people talk about the game. Another author claims that public discourse, meaning how we talk and write about topics, helps shape social power, and in gaming, that power determines who belongs. Cuphead's controversy also ties into a much larger question about gaming. Should all players have access to all content, or should difficulty remain part of artistic intent? Games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring face similar debates. Challenge can be both empowering and exclusionary. It gives players a sense of mastery, but it can also create us versus them culture. Research by Schmierbach et al. Supports this. While moderate challenges increase enjoyment and flow, excessive difficulty often leads to frustration and alienation. So, when people say, if it's too hard, don't play, they ignore that balance, the line where the difficulty stops being satisfying and starts being discouraging. Cuphead's case highlights how that balance isn't just about mechanics, it's about values. Are games meant to be inclusive? Or are they a test of endurance? At first glance, this might just seem like players arguing online, but the Cuphead controversy exposes deeper social patterns. As Alejandro and Zhao explain, discourse, the way we speak, argue, and frame ideas, doesn't just reflect culture, it creates it. Every get good comment, every debate about what makes a real gamer, contributes to shaping how people identify within these spaces. And when discourse prioritizes skill over accessibility or enjoyment, it risks turning gaming into an exclusive club instead of a shared culture. Cuphead is more than just a tough platformer. It's a mirror showing how identity and belonging in gaming communities are built, reinforced, and sometimes weaponized through language. So next time someone says get good, maybe we should ask good at what and who for? Because behind every difficulty debate isn't just a question of mechanics, it's a conversation about culture, inclusion, and what it means to call yourself a gamer. Thank you.